Hi there, I'm Emily Muehlstein with the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council, and this is a public hearing video on a framework action that considers modifying vermilion snapper catch limits. So I'll begin with a quick overview of the current management measures for vermilion. There is no sector allocation, meaning we don't divide the vermilion annual catch limit between commercial and recreational sectors. The fishing season is all year long from January 1 through December 31st, but vermilion is subject to quota closure if the annual catch limit is met or projected to be met. The minimum size limit for vermilion is 10 inches total length. There is no commercial trip limit, and the recreational bag limit is 10 fish per person within that 20 refish aggregate bag limit. And then finally, as I mentioned before, when the combined commercial and recreational catch reaches the stock annual catch limit, the season is closed for both sectors for the remainder of the year. So even with the quota closure in place, the fishing season for vermilion snapper has never been closed due to the stock annual catch limit being met. However, one time vermilion snapper harvest did exceed its annual catch limit by approximately 3%, and that was in 2018. So I'll briefly cover our stock assessment history for vermilion. In 2012, CDAR 9 update assessment was done, and it determined that the stock was neither overfished nor experiencing overfishing. The vermilion snapper acceptable biological catch and annual catch limits were maintained at the current 3,420,000 pounds based on Tier 3 of the Council's ABC control rule, which used the mean landings from 1999 through 2008 to determine those catch levels. Then in 2016, CDAR 45 determined that the stock was neither overfished nor experiencing overfishing, and the acceptable biological catch and annual catch limit were set at 3,110,000 pounds for the years 2017 through 2021. So we're here because a new vermilion stock assessment, CDAR 67, which was completed in 2020, determined that the stock is still not overfished or experiencing overfishing, but it also includes new recreational catch and effort estimations from what we're calling the Marine Recreational Information Program's Fishing Effort Survey. And it also reconsiders previous discards and shrimp bycatch estimates. As a result of this new assessment, the Council's scientific advisors, the Scientific and Statistical Committee, updated its recommendation for overfishing limit and acceptable biological catch, based on the conversion to that new Marine Recreational Information Program Fishing Effort Survey currency, and also because the assessment generally shows that the stock is healthy. So the Council can now consider increasing the vermilion snapper annual catch limit so that it is consistent with the best scientific information available, which is considered to be that latest stock assessment. So there's one action in this document. It's pretty simple. Action 1 looks at modifying the vermilion snapper overfishing limit, acceptable biological catch, and annual catch limit. Our first alternative, as always, is the no action alternative, and that would retain the current overfishing limit, acceptable biological catch, and annual catch limit for vermilion. Now, it's important to note here that this alternative is not actually viable because it's not based on the best available scientific information. The second alternative, which is the Council's preferred alternative, would modify the overfishing limit, acceptable biological catch, and annual catch limits based on the Scientific and Statistical Committee's recommendation for constant catch yield from 2021 through 2025. And it would set the annual catch limit equal to the acceptable biological catch. And then we can consider alternative 3, which would modify the overfishing limit, acceptable biological catch, based on the Council's Scientific and Statistical Committee recommendation for a constant catch yield for those years 2021 through 2025, but it differs from preferred alternative 2 because it would set the annual catch limit using the Council's ABC, ACL, ACT control rule, which would result in creating a 9% buffer between the ABC and the annual catch limit. So this table simply shows you a comparison of the actual catch levels that are realized under the different alternatives. Alternative 1 would maintain our current catch levels, and remember that's not a viable alternative. But alternative 2 and 3 both represent pretty large increases in the Vermilion catch limits. The major difference between alternative 2 and alternative 3 is that alternative 2 sets the annual catch limit for Vermilion equal to the acceptable biological catch, while alternative 3 creates a 9% buffer and reduces the annual catch limit from the acceptable biological catch. So the Council plans to take final action on this document at its January 2022 meeting. We would like to hear your input before taking that final action. Please submit your comments either online through our online comment portal at this link, or you can simply email us at golfcouncil@golfcouncil.org. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and send us your thoughts.